All right, so this is going to be completing the square, but this is going to be when a equals 1. So you can see that we have a quadratic. It's f of x is equal to x squared plus 10x minus 8. Now just remember that the reason we complete the square is to take something that is written in standard form like it is now, where you have an x squared and x, and then you have a constant number, and you're going to take that standard form equation, and you're going to rewrite it so you can write it in vertex form. Now the only reason we're going to do this is so we could possibly graph the equation very easily, so we can get our vertex and get some other information. Now in order to complete the square, what we're going to start out with is we're going to group our x squared plus 10x together, leave a little space there, all right, and then write the minus 8. And then I put that little space at the end of the minus 8 as well. The reason being is that we're going to go ahead and fill in these spaces with the number, and we're going to have to figure out what that number is. Now, to figure out what that number is, you're going to take that middle term, that 10, and it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, because what you're going to do is you're always going to take that middle term, you're going to divide it by 2 and square it. All right, so when I take 10 and divide it by 2 and square it, I end up getting 25. So that is actually what we're going to fill in these two spots. So we're going to start out by rewriting this parenthesis. We have x squared plus 10x plus 25. All right, so that's that piece. Then minus 8, and then I wrote minus 25 at the end. All right, now the reason I have to write this as a minus 25 is because I added something into the equation, so I have to subtract it out as well. Basically, I put too much on that equation on that one side. I have to balance it back out. So if you added, you have to subtract. If you subtracted, you have to add. All right, so you guys got to make sure that you balance out the equation. So I added the 25, I subtracted 25. Now what I'm going to have to work with next is that x squared plus 10x plus 25. I'm going to have to go ahead and factor that. As I make a little mark there, you can see that that's what I'm going to have to work with. So in order to factor, this is where we're going to start to work on this more and more and more. I'm going to factor that. It's actually pretty simple. If they're both pluses, then when I write this factor, it's going to be a positive. So the nice thing is that it's called complete the square because the 25, or that number that is the last number inside your parenthesis, is always going to be a perfect square. So the perfect square of 25 is going to be 5. So this is going to be rewritten as x plus 5 squared. And then I'm going to combine my two terms. The negative 8 and the negative 25 becomes minus 33. So f of x is equal to that x plus 5 quantity squared minus 33. And like I said at the beginning of this video, the reason we complete the square is so we can go ahead and do a lot of converting. It converts from standard form back to our vertex form. And just remember that that middle part, when I factored x squared plus 10x minus 25, this right here, and it became that. It's actually pretty simple to factor. We're looking at this value, this 25. That is always going to be a perfect square. So if this was plus 16, then this would not be plus 5 anymore. That would have become plus 4. So instead of plus 25, it was plus 36. This would write this as plus 6. Now, if the middle number, this was a plus 10x, if this right here was a negative, then we would have put this as a negative over there. So we just got to make sure that we do the proper operations in order to be able to make sure that we factor this properly and do all that. But that's how we complete the square when a is equal to 1.